You are the star in the movie of your life. Make every day an Oscar winning performance.
So we can just get right into it. I just want to thank everybody who's watching this right now and coming to support this show, because all this show is about supporting one another and trying to create a better community and a more well-rounded community, all in all. This show is brought to you by Velco Academy, as everybody knows. We're here to share our struggles and how we overcame them, as well as build the community, like I said, and just thrive. So I'd like to introduce Lincoln. He's his first time on the show, and we can just kind of start from the beginning. If you'd like to talk a little bit about your childhood or your upbringing, just kind of what made you the person you are today.
Well, I was born on a tiny little island, Trinidad and Tobago. It's in the West Indies. That chain of islands is the last island, and that chain right about 6 miles northeast of Venezuela.
Okay.
And on a world map, it's just like a dot. This island is 75 miles north to south and 50 miles east to west. And I was born in the country. You know, if you can imagine, a small place like that will have cities. And also, I was born, Kali, I was born in an ajupa. And if you know what an ajupa is, it's a mud hut.
Okay.
And covered with palm leaves, you know. And in those days, I was born in 1949. In those days, children of unmarried couples were called bastards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we were looked down upon. But you know, it never bothered me as a child growing up. I never thought, well, my father didn't marry my mother, or my mother didn't marry my father. They're living in sin. And that was my father and that was my mother.
Mm-hmm. Didn't matter to you.
Yeah, and they loved me. And you know, we were very poor. We didn't get to eat one piece of meat maybe on Sunday. The rest of the day, you know, was vegetables that they grew in the backyard kind of deal. And maybe one of my uncles will go fishing and he caught a fish, he would bring it home, or they go crabbing and they get some crabs. So those were the kind of wow kind of times. But we were always contented.
Yeah.
I never one day think, well, man, I wish I had another pair of pants or another pair of shoes. It was like I was so free.
Yeah.
Running around the neighborhood, you know, running in the yard, climbing the trees. Picking, if I needed a fruit, there was a fruit tree right there, a guava tree or a mango tree. I go get it. You know, there was, and then the neighbors. Oh my God, Carly, the neighbors were like family. We didn't call them neighbor. The neighbor next door, I call her grandma.
Mm-hmm.
My best friend Junior, growing up, that was his grandma. So she became my grandma, kind of deal. And up to today, when we talk, we grew up like family. And to me, I wouldn't change that for the world.
Honestly, I envy that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I grew up in America in 2000s, you know, but
Yeah.
but that
But
sounds amazing. It really does. In
I
its own
would
way.
not, yeah, I would not change it for the world, because it taught me, I didn't even know I was learning lessons at the time, but to be content and then healthy. The food, you know, it was organic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we didn't have fast food in those days. It was organic. So people looking from the outside might say, "Oh my God, they're having so much trouble. They're so poor," kind of deal. But we were not thinking that way.
Yeah, you had what you needed to be content,
To
and
be
you were
content,
grateful for having what you had.
exactly. You know, and the love of my parents. You know, growing up, the neighbors, it that sustained us and carried us through that time. You know, my father, we couldn't afford to buy toys. He would make something with his hands,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that was, to me, that was great kind of deal. We played cricket in the islands, and we played, you know, well, we call it football. It's soccer really
Yeah.
in the islands. And he would take a piece of wood and make a bat for me, and that was good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And we would find anything that's round, like a grapefruit.
Yeah.
That's what we kick,
Yep.
you know. But what we didn't know at that time, it was developing skill. It was developing skill that we were not even aware of at that time. So much so later on in my life, I played cricket at the highest level in the island.
Wow.
I played among the pros. I made the college soccer team, kind of deal, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But so that statement that Shakespeare said, "Sweet are the uses of adversity," is such a powerful statement. But when we get into adversity, sometimes we get so caught up in what's going on instead of stepping back and looking and say, what can I learn from? What am I learning here?
Mm-hmm.
How am I growing here? When I was much younger, Carly, and things were really terrible, and I've had some we will share later on. I used to say, "Oh my God, why? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you letting this happen to me? I didn't do anything wrong. Come on." Now I step back and I say, "Lord, what are you trying to teach me?
Yeah.
What's the lesson
Powerful.
here? What are you teaching me, Father?" You see, in life, we find what we look for, Kali. If we look for the good, we're going to find it. If we look for the evil, we're going to find it. We're not going to be disappointed. We find what we look for. It's all about focus.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about focus. What are you looking for? Look for the good. You're going to find it. Like right now, what's going on in our world? People might say, well, Lincoln, where's the good in Ukraine? I don't know. I don't know where's the good. What I see is other countries rallying to support the people in Ukraine. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. You know, and I believe in my heart of heart, the time will come. And you and I will look back and say, now I see why that happened. And it was
Yeah.
for the good of the people. It was for the good of the people. We don't know now while it's happening, but later on we will see. I mean, look at September 11, they rebuilt a nicer tower.
Yeah.
People died,
Beautiful memorial. Yeah.
you know. So growing up, you know, my mother, you know, she brought me up in the church, Sunday school every Sunday, and you went because Mama said so. You know,
Yep. I remember that.
yeah, you go because Mama. And now in retrospect, I'm glad she forced me to go to Sunday school. You know, I acted in plays, and again later on in my adult life, I was an amateur actor. I started at age 5 and 6. I was a shepherd. I was a wise man kind of deal, you know, and it was fun. It
Yeah.
was fun, and was so free growing up. We never thought about danger, about being kidnapped, or we never heard about people shooting people and that kind of thing in those days. You know, we didn't have a lock on our door. There was
Mm-hmm.
nothing to steal.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
But
the same here. I mean, in certain neighborhoods, obviously, everybody has to have a lock on their door. But in the neighborhood that my parents grew up in, or at least my mother, which is about 40 minutes away from my hometown,
yeah,
they never locked their doors ever, unless they
yeah,
maybe went away on vacation, maybe.
you're right. And I remember when my mom was sick, the neighbor would cook dinner for us. When the neighbor was sick, my mother would cook dinner for us. And, when my name is Lincoln, my neighbor used to call me Linky, because she adopted me like her son. When she cooked something she knew that I liked, she would call me over.
Yep.
Oh my God, miss those days really. But I'm still connected, believe it or not, with the kids who I grew up with
Yeah.
that are still around, I'm still connected. And that's a blessing, really. After all these years, that you can still stay in touch. And that's what one of the technology of today.
It's
That's,
beautiful.
yeah. So, yeah, I was born in the name of the village. Think about this. Havelock Hole. It was a hole.
Yeah.
It was a hole, you know. And we came out of that. We moved, went to high school and all of that, growing up. As a teenager, I was very shy, believe it or not, very shy. And it took a little while for me to, quote unquote, come out of my shell.
Yeah.
But that happened in high school. And I went to a school called Irie High School. And then Irie High School, and the subtitle was In His Steps. It was a Christian school. So that again, my growth, my spiritual growth, my faith, and all of that was being reinforced. I made a lot of mistakes. I did a lot of wrong things, you know.
Yeah, like everybody.
Right, nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
But it was never intentional. I didn't get up in the morning and say, "Well, today I'm going to be
Yeah.
a bully today, or today I'm going to lie to somebody." But things happen, and the flesh take over. So I grew up in that country. I got married at well. This is another thing that maturity is. I met this girl. I was what? This would be like about 1971. So 21, 22. You're young kind of deal. She came. She was a nurse in England. She came to visit for the summer, and her brother was one of my best friends. We used to hang out together. So she and I got attracted to each other. And it was like one of those long hot summer kind of movie kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I introduced her to my parents kind of deal. Come to find out her mother and my mother went to the same high school.
Oh, wow.
So I'm thinking, wow, this is a match made in heaven kind of thing. Well, that didn't work out. She went back to England and that didn't work out. So I said to myself, oh my God, the next girl that I meet who loves me more than I love her, I'm going to get married to her. That's not a good reason to get married to anybody.
No,
but
no.
I know at that age, 21, 22, so I met this girl, beautiful, lovely girl, got married, we had a son. And then to me, that son, my first son, is such a blessing.
Yeah.
Such a blessing.
How old were you when you had your first son?
He was born in 1973. I was 24.
Okay.
I was 24. And then that marriage didn't last long at all. I never had any marriage counseling. In retrospect, I messed up.
Yeah.
I am the one who I take full responsibility. I messed up. I was still fooling around. I was still being,
being a 23-year-old or 21-year-old.
24-year-old. And I was very popular. Everybody, loved me. And I was really in the community, well-known kind of deal. And so the marriage broke up after 9 months.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then I believe in marriage. You see, that's the other thing. I believe in marriage. And then in 1976, I got remarried.
Okay.
And we had two kids, my daughter, my only daughter, Sabrina, and my second son, Lester. Okay. And marriage lasted 7 years. And then my second wife started having an affair.
Okay.
And that's one thing I couldn't find in my heart to forgive.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't, and they didn't want to be forgiven,
Yeah.
time. So, and I'm not a fighter. So we got divorced and I walked away from everything. That was in 1984. I walked away from everything, starting all over again. I still had my job kind of deal. I was making more money than I needed, really. And again, I was well known. I was vice president of JC's International
Okay.
in 1984, and I was campaigning for executive vice president. My goal, and this is so relevant to that Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. In his heart, a man makes his plan, but the Lord guides his footsteps. Carly, my goal was to be the next world president. And that would be the 1985 world president of JC's International. That was my goal. And I was running for executive vice president. And around June, I get this phone call from Richard Hayward, who was the Secretary General of JC's International, and the world headquarters was based in Coral Gables. And we know each other because I've been to meetings and all. So the conversation went something like this. Hey, Richard, how are you, man? I'm doing good. How are you, Lincoln? Doing very well, thank you. Well, Lincoln, we know that you're running for executive vice president. And we know that if you run, you're going to win. But whenever somebody says but, you better raise your antenna.
Yeah. Brace yourself.
Yeah. But we need a director of training and development at the world headquarters. And we've looked around, and we would like for you to be that person. Carly, I'm coming from a little island, 1.2 million people. This organization is 80 countries all over the world, 500,000 members, and this Secretary General is calling me. That had to be a divine intervention.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I mean, I was good at training. I was very good at training. My degree was in education. I taught. I did a lot of. I was a speaker kind of deal, and so I knew the job. So I said, Richard, let me pray about this. This is a big decision. I never had a goal, a desire to leave Trinidad and come to the United States. That was never a dream, kind of some people that I want to get out of here. No, I was having a great time in Trinidad.
Yeah.
So I prayed about it, and I got the sense, the Lord said to me, you need a break. Based on what had just happened, you need a break. Go. March 7, 1985. I landed in Miami International Airport with 2 suitcases in my hand. And the rest is history.
Wow. Are you still in Florida?
Huh?
Are you still in Florida?
No, I'm in Grayson, Georgia.
Okay. Still south, though.
Where are you?
I'm in Coral Springs, Florida.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, the first 10 years of my life, I lived in Dade County,
Yeah.
In Kendall, yeah. The world headquarters was in Coral Gables, Florida, right on the corner of Lejeune and University Drive, right next to University of Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I came, and it was like culture shock for me. Because I'm coming from an environment, a culture where I knew half of the people and the other half knew me.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody said hi, and I'm coming here and I'm in this elevator and nobody's even making eye contact.
Yeah.
So I had to make up a decision. Am I going to fall in line here, or am I going to be a agent of change? Well, I start saying, good morning, how are you today? Yep. And they look up, they start looking, what is this guy smoking?
Yeah, like you're crazy.
But after a couple of times, they start responding. They start responding. You see, the thing about people, for me, you got to be who you are and not try to be what somebody else is. And not let society and culture force you to change who you are. Be that difference maker. I decided that I'm going to be me. I was born in Trinidad and Tobago. This is my culture. I'm going to share my culture with these people. And it worked.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it worked. So the projects that the things that I got busy and engrossed in doing what I love to do. Training, developing training material. They sent me all over the world. The only continent I didn't go to was Africa. And but training, doing leadership training and development and TV interviews and all this. I mean, how when I look back at that, only God can make something like that happen. And you see, the other thing is the people embrace you when you try to adapt to their culture. I know that's kind of controversial to what I just said, but there's little things that you
People
do.
embrace more than one thing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had to learn to drive on the left side of the road.
Yeah.
You know, the little things, like part of my territory was Asia. I had to go to Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, Indonesia, and they use chopsticks. When I learned to eat with chopsticks, you wouldn't believe that little thing. That little thing that when they see me eat, they embrace me. You know, that little thing, a little word, Ohio gozaimasu kind of deal. Your little word when they see you trying.
Yeah.
They embrace you. They embrace you. And I mean, through all those travels, there was only one time I felt insecure, but the Lord was with me and He protected me and He provided for me. And, you know, I only know one language, that's English. Wherever I went, there was an English translator.
Yeah.
I remember once I was doing a keynote in Thailand, in Bangkok, and they had a simultaneous, well, not consecutive translator standing next to me. So I would say a sentence, stop, and he would say it in Thai. Well, there were a couple of people in the room who could understand English. So I always like to start with a funny story. So they were laughing while he was interpreting, and the other people had to catch up.
Yep. Yeah. And the other people had to wait to laugh.
Yeah. So, you know, talking about overcoming, the contract that I was on was a 3-year contract, 3-year agreement that I would come and serve the organization for 3 years. When I got there, my title was Director of Training. The director who was in charge of Asia resigned, so they asked me if I can fill the gap. So I got a second job, no raise in salary, but again, that was a blessing in disguise. I didn't say, oh, what? No. It was like, you know, when life provides for you, embrace it. Embrace it. And then the major emphasis, team director, he had to go. So for 1 year, I was doing 3 jobs, but I loved it because it kept me busy.
Yeah.
And it had my creative juices going. You see, if you don't use it, you lose it. I was getting opportunity to use it and to grow and develop and make a difference.
Yeah.
Make a difference, make a contribution. I remember in my first project, World President Chichos Luciano, he was from the Philippines, coming to my office. He said, Lincoln, welcome to JC's International World Headquarters. I need for you to develop a manual for me. I said, okay, what's the title? Back to Basics. Sounds good, Chichos. What do you want to be in the content? He looked at me and he said, you tell me what should be.
Yeah, you tell me. You're the master.
So I sat down and wrote, you know, a list of the fortunate thing for me. I was an active member, so I knew the organization. I literally grew up in the organization, so I knew the organization. And then I was successful, JC of the Year at the local level, JC of the Year at the state level, JC of the Year at the national level. So it was like a second job, Kali, but I loved it. I loved it. So I wrote the contents, and now I have to get the approval of the Secretary General to start writing. So I'll never forget this day. I'm sitting in this guy's office next to him, and I hand him the list. He look at it and he start, oh, I like that, and he's checking. And then he look up. I said, what's wrong, Sam? He said, Lincoln, I've never done this before. I like everything you said. I learned a lesson that day. You see, sometimes you got to feed people's ego. The next time I had to go do a proposal, I intentionally made a mistake.
Yep.
Yeah, but that manual that I wrote, the first manual, Back to Basics, up to today, I wrote that in 1985. People are still using it. It was translated into 4 different languages.
Wow.
You know, it was. I was like, I wasn't working. In fact, I stopped working a long, long time ago. That word "work," when you hear that "work," it sends a negative subliminal message to your mind because it's now associated with hard.
Yeah.
So what I tell people, stop working, start performing. Do not go to work tomorrow. Go to perform. And guess what? You're going to be the biggest benefactor because where does our stress come from? Our stress comes from where we spend most of our time.
Mm-hmm.
And work stress is one of one of the highest stress level work because we spend an average of 8 to 9 waking hours there
Yeah.
at work. Even if we're not in the office today, but we're virtual, our mind is on the job kind of deal,
Yeah.
active. Well, stop working, stop performing. And when you think about it that way, Carly, it's amazing what happens to your mindset now. And your energy level goes up and you get more excited and the creative juices because now I'm performing. You know, oh my goodness. Life is a stage, Carly. And people are looking at you right now. You and I, we are looking at each other. We're performing for each other. Life is a stage, and people are looking at you. And you don't know it, but they're looking at you and they're judging you based on your performance. If you smile at somebody, they're going to smile back at you. If you frown at them, they're going to frown back at you. Smile more often. Perform. Stop working. Go to perform, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
I remember once I was in a hotel at a meeting in Florida, in Orlando, and I went to the men's room. This guy is cleaning the toilet, Scully. But guess what? He was whistling.
Mm-hmm.
And that bathroom was the cleanest, sparkling you've ever seen.
Yeah, because he truly didn't. I mean, I can't speak for him, but he probably didn't mind his job.
He was performing.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing it for his fellow man.
Yeah.
See, that's the other thing. Serving your fellow man. And we are all in this world together. Too many people in me. I found out in life when I started to look at the other person, I get taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
When I take care of other people, I get taken care. It's such a joy to serve, such a joy to give of yourself.
Yeah. It's my favorite. It's one of my favorite things to do is the small things for other people. And it's not even to expect a return. It's just because I know, one, it's making their life a little bit easier. And two, they know that I care about making their life a little bit easier. I can't do the big things. I can't make you get the job that you're, applying for. I can't make you get an A in the class or write your paper for you. But what I can do is make your coffee in the morning. You know what I mean? I can let your dog outside and take him on a walk.
Yeah.
I can clean, I can do all the dishes, even the ones that you left in your room. I can do those. You know what I mean? Like,
instead of complaining.
Life easier,
Yeah. You see, there are simple acts of service that anybody can do. For example, you're walking into a building and there are people behind you. Hold the door.
Yep.
Let them come in. A simple thing like doesn't cost you anything. How much to say good day, good morning to a stranger kind of deal. And I love it when you go to the supermarket, right? And everybody got a name badge.
Yeah.
Call them by name. The name of a person, the sound of the name is the sweetest sound that they hear. I've noticed when I'm talking to customer service on the phone, I always call them by their name. I get better service.
Oh, yeah. Because they know that you care, at least to know their name, to say their name. Yeah.
Simple things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
Say hi. You're in line in the supermarket, you got about 10 items, you look back, that person only got 2. Hey, you only got 2 items, come ahead.
Mm-hmm.
You made that person there.
Yeah.
You made that person there, and it didn't cost you anything, really.
Yeah. Maybe an extra minute.
Um, think about it, you know? So I'm not going to stay here and tell you I had it was roses all the days of my life. Now I've had some tough times, but I've learned do not sacrifice today between two thieves, yesterday and tomorrow.
Yeah.
I made mistakes yesterday. I'm not going to dwell on those mistakes. Today is an opportunity for me to do better, to
Mm-hmm.
learn from those mistakes. I'm not guaranteed tomorrow. I'm not even sure tomorrow is going to come. So I'm living in the present.
Yeah.
In the present. When tomorrow comes, I'll deal with tomorrow. I can't do anything about tomorrow, but I can do something about right. Right now, you are the most important person in my life.
Yep.
You are the most
We're
important.
face to face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I'm married. I got 5 kids. I got 7 grandchildren, and they're very important, but they're not here.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do anything for them,
Yeah.
but I can have a conversation with Carly, and
Yeah.
I can share with Carly, and I can encourage Carly. I can listen to Carly
Yeah.
right now. So I've learned wherever you are, give 100% of yourself right there,
Mm-hmm.
wherever you are. This multitasking thing is a myth. Is a myth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so that's how I came to United States. And again, in in at the beginning of my the third year, which was going to be the final year, talk about overcoming. The executive director came to me and he said, Lincoln, this is your last year. You've done very well for us. We'd like to consider extending your contract. So I took his word for it that they were going to extend the contract. I didn't make any plans to go back to Trinidad or any. I had gotten remarried, by the way. That was another good thing. I went to a meeting in Jamaica. Kali, I'm sitting at the head table, 'cause you're the honored guest kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Next to the president of Jamaica JCs, and this young lady just poked her head into the room, smiled, and it was like lightning struck me.
You love love, don't you? You love
Oh,
being married.
so I asked the president, the name was Vunan. I said, Vunan, who is that? Then we broke for dinner. So I'm walking into the restaurant and she's there with her friends and say, hey, what's good here? And one thing led to another. We got married, and she joined me in the United States, in Miami, in Kendall. We had 2 kids, 2 boys, Bryant and Kyle. They're all adults now. So I started to tell you about the third year when he
Yeah.
told me. I didn't make any plans. Then at the end of they told me they're not going to renew my contract.
So now you're stuck.
I'm stuck, and so what the heck? What am I going to do now? I didn't make any plans. So, but now look at how the Lord Almighty works. I started looking for work. I have to provide, you know. So I was good in sales. I sold life insurance in Trinidad and Tobago. So I was good in sales. I taught salespeople how to sell. So it was easy to get a job selling cars in a dealership.
Yeah.
So I went there, Bird Road Mazda. I even won awards, Salesman of the Month. But Carly, I just did not fit into the culture.
Yeah.
I just didn't fit. But I learned a lot about the car business. Now, this was like in 1988, 89, right? So I'm going to tell you a story I cried a couple times in that dealership, because I just didn't fit in. But I learned a lot about the business. So now I took a job selling credit card processing systems. And those were the years when we were converting business owners from the old knucklebuster paper to transactions by paper.
Yeah.
You're too young to remember those years.
Yes.
And to electronic, it was like taking candy from a baby. It was an easy transition. And, again, made a lot of money, was promoted to territory manager, built up my territory in Miami. And I had a meeting with the vice president, and he said, Lincoln, we have an opening in Houston for a district sales manager. And if you are interested, I will fly you and your family to spend a weekend in Houston and check it out. So I called my wife. My wife is a CPA. Her name is Vilma. I said, hey, guess what? This is what's happening. She said, what's the package? I didn't even think about asking what's the package.
Yeah.
So I called Mike back and I said, hey, Mike, what's the package? He told me the numbers. I called her back and she said, okay, that's a good number. So we go to Houston. We loved it. The people, talk about, again, overcoming adversity. When I told my teammates in Fort Lauderdale that I'm leaving to go to Houston, not one of them encouraged me. They all discouraged me. They all said, you don't know anybody in Houston. You don't know what you're going to walk into. You're going to make less money than what you're making now. You have all your clients here, kind of deal. Not one person encouraged me. But I just felt it in my heart that this is what I need to do. I called my sister.
You also did it before, you know what I mean? Everybody could have said the same thing when you moved to Miami.
Oh yeah. I called my sister who is still living in Trinidad. She's like my confidant kind of person. And I told her, guess what, girl, I'm moving to Houston. She said, guess what? I said, what? Mintra and Vishnu lives in Houston. Mintra is my sister's sister-in-law.
Nice.
Mintra and I went to high school together.
So you did know people there.
It was like the door. It gets better. I go there because we didn't want to take the boys out of school in the middle of a semester. So I went first. I stayed with Mintra and Vishnu. I stayed at their home in Clear Lake in Houston, Texas, Clear Lake City. So I told them, I'd like to go to church tomorrow. Can you show me some churches around here? They showed me 3 churches. And then I said, okay, I'm going to go to that one. Well, when I was leaving Miami, my church people told me, when you go to Houston, look for Reverend Jim Bland. I did not know Houston was such a big city.
No, yeah, it's pretty big.
Look for Reverend Jim Bland. So I said, okay, I'm going to go to that church, Bay Area Presbyterian Church. I walked into the church. And as I walked in, you can feel the presence of the Holy Spirit. The people were so friendly and welcoming. Guess who was the pastor? Reverend Jim Bland.
Small world.
Small world, but again, the hand of the Lord, the guidance of the Lord. I became a deacon in that church. Jim Bland and I became good friends. He is my mentor. Right? And guess what? Both of us moved to Atlanta around the same time. So we get to hang out together and support one another, encourage one another.
That's great.
I know. So I had to rebuild a territory in Houston. My territory was Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. And I had to rebuild the territory because the team was without a manager, a leader for over 6 months. So they were like wild horses.
Yeah.
And half of them wanted my job.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the first meeting I had. I started the meeting. I said, would you pray with me? And I opened the meeting with a prayer. Afterward, a guy came up to me. Later on, I found out this guy was a Christian man and he sang in his church choir. He said to me, are you out of your mind? I said, what do you mean? So you were praying at a sales meeting? I said, well, nobody complained. Did anybody complain? No. People need prayer.
Yeah.
People need prayer. In fact, one young lady afterwards said to me, Lincoln, God bless you. I was praying for somebody like you to come here, and the Lord will send us a Christian leader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like, even if you celebrate, a different religion or you follow a different religion, I'm pretty sure you didn't start the prayer with like, "Oh, Christian Jesus," like,
no.
no,
I at that
it's just
point,
praising, it's
I
just
do
praise.
not believe in religion.
Hmm.
I'm a Christian who goes to a Methodist church. That's what I tell people.
Yeah.
Because I know when I go to heaven, there are no Presbyterians in heaven. There are no Methodists in heaven. There are no Roman Catholics in heaven. There are no churches in. We are the church.
Yes. Yeah.
We are the church, and I wish more churches would come together.
Yeah.
And we serving the same God. We reading the same Bible. We singing the same hymns, kind of deal.
Yeah.
We exist in the same community. If we could come together, maybe once a month, once a quarter, and serve our community.
Yeah. Just celebrate
Yeah,
the existence.
yeah. So I had to rebuild that territory, and again, it was a blessing. And oh my goodness, they talk about overcoming adversity. After I rebuilt the territory, and we were operating at 137% of quota. And I got a visit from two VPs from New York, where the headquarters of First Data Corporation was the sales organization. They came to visit with me. My territory had a relationship with Wells Fargo Bank. So we were representing Wells Fargo Bank in the streets. So when we walk into a business, we were like perceived to be Wells Fargo agents.
Yeah.
We had a partnership. So this is how the meeting went. Lincoln, we need to talk to you. Well, we formed a relationship with Chase Bank. And we're going to take half of your salespeople and give it to the district sales manager for the Chase Merchant Services department. Kali, they did not ask me which ones I want to keep. They just split the territory. Yeah. So that was, to me, that was so unfair. And I had recruited these people. I trained them.
Mm-hmm.
We had a relay. We were like family kind of deal. It hurt.
Yeah. You
But
built them all up.
yeah, and some of them were upset, but they had no choice.
Mm-hmm.
So now half of my team was competing with the other half of the team in the same marketplace.
And you all have the same training.
And yeah.
Yeah. Which never helps,
So I had to suck it up and rebuild the team again. So in 1998, Texas had the hottest summer ever. 137 people died of heat exhaustion, and not just old people, young people too. And then Wells Fargo Bank decided to raise their rates. So all the clients we had in the pipeline, we had to go back and requote, and half of them would say, "Yeah, you out of your mind? You quoted me this price, you need to honor that price."
Mm-hmm.
Well, in June of 1998, my production for that month was 95% of the month, but we were still 120 something percent year to date. My boss calls me. He was based in San Diego. He called me up and he said, "Lincoln, your district is in a mess." What? What do you mean my district is in a mess? Well, you only are 95% a quarter. I said, "Well, George, look at the year to date. I'm 125% a quarter year to date. And did you know that we had the hottest summer in Houston, and then Wells Fargo raised the rate? So we had to go back and recode everybody. Not everybody will say, okay, thank you for raising my rate."
Mm-hmm.
What he did not know is I was being recruited by a competitor. But I was loyal to my employer.
Yeah.
One of my territory managers had gone over to that company and told them about me. So they were calling me. Well, after that conversation, I said, I need to talk to these people. So I went. The name of the company was Heartland Payment Systems. I went and interviewed with them in St. Louis, Missouri, McDonald's Town, with the big arches there in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And again, a Christian man. And they made me an offer. I thought, I need to think about this. So how much time? He said, take as much time as you want, but just don't take too much time. So I come back to Houston. I called George and I said, George, I need to have a face-to-face meeting with you. He was based in San Diego. And he said, sure, come on over. I booked the flight. And just, it was just to show you the relationship. I booked the flight to fly out in the morning, fly back the same day. So since it was a kind of last-minute flight, when I sat in the plane, I had to take a middle seat. Normally, I like an aisle seat.
Mm-hmm.
But guess, again, the hand of the Lord. As I sat in the middle, the guy turned the window, took out a Bible, and put it in the pocket in front of him. The guy that came to my right, he had one of those New Testament in his... I couldn't plan that.
Yeah.
And the guy to my left, he we start talking, what you doing, where are you going? So I told him about this offer I had that will relocate me to Atlanta if I accepted it. He said, well, Lincoln, it sounds like a good offer. His name was Rick. If you go there, here are 2 names and numbers. Call these people and tell them I recommend you.
And just like that.
Just like that, So I meet with George. I ask him 3 questions because now he's talking about splitting my territory again. So I said, George, why are you splitting my territory again so soon? And then how is this going to affect my income? And do I have a future here in this company? I didn't trust the guy anyway. So I didn't believe a word he said. So I came back home. I called the people at Heartland. I said, hey, is this offer still on the table? They said yes. I said, well, there are a couple of things I'd like for you to consider. Right now, I'm making X amount of dollars per month. I need to get a guarantee that I will make that same amount of money. No problem, Lincoln. Come on down. They relocated me to Atlanta, Georgia. That was in 1995. I came to Atlanta, Georgia. And I was the regional sales manager for all of the 5 Southeast. But it was a startup company. When I came, there were 2 district managers and about 10 salespeople. In a year, I built it to 9 district managers and 110 salespeople. So, my executive vice president, who was based in Scottsdale, Arizona, his name was Mike, he called me up. He said, hey, man, we love what you've done with your territory. We'd like for you to do it for the whole country.
Oh, my gosh.
But we'll change your title to Director of Sales Training and Development, but you got to move to Scottsdale. Because his office was in Scottsdale. He knew me, he'd been to my home kind of deal. And he knew my wife. I said, Mike, I can do this job for you, but I don't have the heart and desire, the courage to go to my family and tell them we're going to move again.
Yeah.
If you want to call Vilma and tell her and get her to move, go for it.
Yeah, be my guest.
So he said, okay, let me think about it. He called me back the next day and he said, okay, Lincoln, set up office in Atlanta. So they brought a guy to replace me. I did the transition, coached him, trained him, set him up with a new team. His name was Russ. We became really good friends. And remember that name, Russ, because he comes back to play later on to help me overcome again, So we took that company. I had 3 sales guys, one in the West Coast, one in the Midwest, and one on the East Coast, and trained them to be trainers. We took that company from $1 billion a year in gross revenue to $15 billion a year in gross revenue. And in 2001, when the economy took a dip, I got the call. Sorry, we got to cut your department. That was one of the worst phone calls I had to make, to call my 3 guys and say, sorry, guys.
Yeah.
The first department they cut was the training department. I live for them to tell me we are so sorry, we made a mistake. But, so now I'm out of work.
Yeah.
2001, nobody's hiring it. The economy
Yeah,
is
in a
being,
bad economy too.
yeah. And then we had a nice home in Lawrenceville, Georgia. The boys were in school doing well. My wife is CPA. She's working, doing well. I'm looking for work. I got some part-time jobs here and there, and nobody's hiring. And I was looking for in-state, close to the home, kind of. So I had a meeting with them, with my family, and I said, I'm not getting anything in Georgia. I need to expand my search.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, Dad, well, go for it, but we're not moving.
We're
You,
staying here.
we're staying here. You're going to have to commute. So I started calling up for my people who know me, and Russ had left Heartland and went to work for a company called Retriever Payment Systems, which was based in Houston,
Okay.
you know. So he called me back and he said, Hey, Lincoln, we have a job here. If you want it, it's yours. Assistant Vice President of Sales. Cut a long story short, I took the job. But in the meantime, my wife asked me for a divorce. I'll never forget that night when she asked me for the divorce. And I said, the first thing that could come out of my mouth was, Did you pray about this? She said, Yes. I thought about it, but I didn't ask her. I said, Which God did you pray to? I didn't ask her the question.
Yeah.
But I found out it cost me $500 to pay an attorney to find out that I couldn't prevent this from happening. I couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
So again, the Lord took me out of that environment. I walked away, left everything, and moved me to Houston, Texas, where I knew people, kind of deal. Then we
Yeah.
had a great time there, building the team. Carly, the company, they paid for me to come home every 2 weeks to visit with my boys. When I was leaving Houston, it was joyful to come, pick up my two boys,
Yeah.
go spend the weekend together, have fun, go to the movies, they eat together, you know. But when I dropped them off on Sunday evening, it
Your
hurt.
heart breaks a little bit.
It hurt.
Yeah.
I cried a lot in those times, those days. And then there was one particular incident. I'm in the airport in Houston. I'm in the airport. And my wife, ex-wife at the time, called me and said, Don't come this weekend. Why? Well, the boys are under punishment, and when they are with you, all they do is have fun for a weekend. You know, Kali? I
I
know
swear I can't get through one podcast without having
technology. I'm glad you can. I'm glad you can edit this. Yeah.
exactly.
So we were talking about my third divorce.
Yes.
So so I go to Houston, and when you're going through trials and tribulations, the Lord always sends people to encourage you and to support you.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm assistant vice president of sales. They did not have a training department, so I'm training their people. I'm recruiting independent sales organizations. And, with this one particular incident, again, I'm doing a training for the independents. They're coming from all over the country. And that particular time, somehow the Lord just put it in my heart, open this meeting with a prayer. There was a guy in that room, his name was Mike Brooks. And this was like 2001 and he and I became such good friends up to today. He's in South Carolina, I'm here, and we play golf together sometime. We meet every Monday I'm doing some consulting for his business. We talk about brothers in Christ, and that's how I met Mike. If I had not gone to Houston, I would not have met Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met another guy, Paul. His name is Paul. And here am I feeling sorry for myself. I don't have anybody in my life. I don't want anybody anymore. I've gone through 3 marriages. So maybe marriage is not for me. These are the thoughts going through my mind,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I met this guy named Paul, and he had told me that he divorced, his wife left him, and he was without somebody for 11 years. And I'm just 1 year and 2 I'm,
Mm-hmm.
wait a minute. And you're complaining, Lincoln, look at this guy. And so that was another encouragement. I met
Yeah.
this,
He's
I met this,
surviving.
I
Yeah.
met this lovely lady, invited her to lunch. Said, well, this looks like a good candidate.
Of course.
Yeah, invited her to lunch. Well, the first signal, she invited a friend to come with her. So I found out that she was married. So that was the end of that, you know. So there were a couple of candidates during those years, but we never got to second base or even first base. The
Yeah.
Lord keeps slamming the door. In the meantime, I was coming backward and forward, seeing my ex-wife, seeing the boys. Trying to start to tell you about that particular visit when she called me. I'm in the airport. I'm in the terminal. Already checked in. They tell me don't come this weekend because the boys are under, punishment, and every time they all do that. I'm in the airport.
Yeah.
I'm coming. Don't get on the plane, fly out there, get the rent a car, drive up to the house, and park in the driveway. I thought I told you don't come. My older son Brian, he ran out of the house with a bag in his hand and he jumped in the car. He said, "You better leave." I said, "I'm not leaving without my boys. This is my weekend with the boys."
Yeah.
She said, "Well, if you don't leave, I'm going to call the police." I said, "Go ahead, call the police."
Yeah.
It's the first time in my life that the cops came. The cop came to my car. The renter car had a Texas tag on it. So he asked, "What's going on here?" I told him my story, right? This is my time with the boys. Maybe I'm here
Mm-hmm.
to pick up my boys, kind of deal. He saw the Texas tag. He thought I drove all the way from Texas. I said, no. He said, all right, let me go. He went inside. He talked to her. So she had all the documents, but she's the primary care parent.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. I had no choice. I had to leave.
Wow.
I
You
had
thought you
to
had some custody, yeah.
Yeah, I had to leave. When I left, driving back to go where I was going to spend the weekend, Kali, that day I almost committed suicide. I got this close. I started looking at which lamp pole should I run into.
Yeah.
And then what saved me is pray. I said, Lord, I've had enough. Bring me home. And you know what he said to me? That's not your choice. He said, Lincoln, you did not choose the hour or the day you entered into that world. You do not have a choice on the day you exit. That's my choice. You better wait. Don't think
Yeah.
about it. And that was the last time I thought about committing suicide.
Yeah.
So
I like that perspective that you didn't have a choice coming in, you don't have a choice
going out,
going
right?
out.
It's his choice. He's the creator. I'm the creation. He's the potter. I'm the clay, right? I didn't choose the day of my birthday. I don't choose the day when I leave. So I'm ready, but when you're ready, it's a two-way thing. So that was a very low time in my life. And then I was missing my boys a lot, missing out because I coached my younger son in soccer. My older son was playing the piano. I used to take him to practice. I missed the recitals and all of that. So I went to my boss in Houston. I said, Joe, is it possible for you to let me work remote? Well, most of the work I'm doing is on the phone, and when we have a training, I can come, instead of me going backward and forward, I can come here and do the training. He said, Lincoln, we've never had anybody work remote. Remember, this is in 2002,
Mm-hmm.
2003. Let me think about it. So I came over for the weekend and went back, and Monday morning I met with him, and I said, Joe, have you thought about it? He said, yeah, I don't think we can do this. I prayed about it, and Kali, I resigned from that job. I was missing my boys too much.
Mm-hmm.
I was missing my family too much. And I came back to Atlanta bought a townhome in Lawrenceville, and I'll never forget this night. I'm laying in my bed all by. This is the first time in my life I'm alone. No family, no friends, no. I'm alone. I'm laying in my bed and I'm crying. Lord, I am so lonely. Now, I didn't hear a voice, but somebody spoke to me. Why are you lonely? I am here with you, and I have 1,000 angels with me. I said, hallelujah. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
forgive me, Father. I've never felt lonely after that.
Yeah.
Never felt alone after that because I know my God is with me. He is with me, and then the word say, I will never forsake you, nor leave you. He is with me. Kali, I've never felt lonely after that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so,
My mom carries that same perspective as well. She
yeah,
never feels
so,
lonely.
so interacting with, now I'm in the same city as my ex-wife, and so, and interacting. One day she said to me, what do you want? I said, I want my family back. One thing led to another. We got remarried. After 5 years of being separated, we got remarried in September of, well, that would be like 2008. 5 years separation, we got remarried. And that was in 2000. So we are still together,
Mm-hmm.
living together, after all these years. Now, remember, I told you about when I sold cars in Miami in way back in 88, 89.
Yeah.
Well, I started looking for work again now in Atlanta. So I applied to autotrader.com, which is a car advertising company. I applied for a district sales manager job.
Yeah.
And I didn't even get a reply. In the meantime, First Data hired me to train all their telemarketers right down here in Atlanta. I was, again, doing what I love to do. And then I get a phone call in the middle of from the recruiter at Auto Trader. Hey, Mr. Kokaram, are you still looking? I said, sure, I'm always open. Well, your resume came across my desk, and we have an opportunity here that matches your resume. Would you like to do an interview? I said, sure. We do a phone interview with the hiring manager. Her name was Jane Kelly, and I don't like phone interviews. So I was praying, oh my God, do we really have to do this? Kali, 5 minutes into the interview, she said, Lincoln, I am not enjoying this. Can you come over for a face-to-face meeting? 5 minutes. I
She was
said,
feeling the
sure.
same way.
Yeah. So I get there, she and I clicked. We clicked. And then she had one of her other employees named Chick interview me. He loved me. Another VP of sales interviewed me. 1 minute into the interview, we start talking about golf because he was a golfer. I played the game
Mm-hmm.
kind of deal. So now I'm in Jane's office. Time to make a final decision. She said, well, I need to call her boss to get the approval. She calls him. I'm sitting in the office. His name is Bob. And she said, Bob, I need for you to meet with this candidate. We think he's a good candidate. He's our number one prospect for this role. But we need your approval. Would you like to meet with him? He said, if you like him, I don't need to meet with him.
All set.
Kai, the learning manager. That was my title. To train all the sales managers in the company, all over the country. And guess what? They had just done a learning survey, and they had 9 modules that they needed to develop.
Yeah.
I had already developed all of those in my past career. All I had to do was tweak it and customize
Yeah.
it to.
Yeah.
I mean, only God can do those things.
Mm-hmm. It was just laid in your lap.
Yeah, in my lap. And what a fun time. I got to speak at dealerships. I got to train. Then they had a sales leadership. Every year they would pick like 20 top sales people who are high potential future leaders.
Yeah.
A program we put them through the year. So I got invited to be a guest at one of their sessions and to do one of my sessions for them at one of their events. And then the lady who was running the program, she resigned and they asked me to do it. I'll never forget. One of the members of the team sent me a card and he said, "You are addition by subtraction." Those were her exact words. And most of those people up to today, we keep in touch. In fact, January of this year, one of them is now a director of sales. I did with selling with passion workshop for her and her team.
Yeah.
So adversity, will be faced with adversity, but sweet are the uses of adversity. And it never lasts forever. You see, that's the other thing. It never lasts. And don't dwell on it. Don't dwell on the negative. Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. To people hold on to the negative. Some people say, "Well, I've learned in life, never say never." They have one bad experience or one bad marriage. I'm never going to get married again. This is enough for me. But I've had 4 with 3, and it's now I've learned also. It's about me, what I can contribute. And whether I get recognition, whether I get appreciation or not, it's about them.
Yeah.
It's what I'm here to serve my God. And he tell me, love your neighbor as yourself. And what is love according to the Bible? What love that a man would lay down his life for his brother. Now that laid down, what's our life? Our life is what we do with our life. Right now, Carly, your and my life is talking to each other and doing this podcast. Right now, that's our life, right?
Yeah.
What we do with our life. A friend calls and say, "Hey, I need you." "Well, I'm busy. Can I come later?" That friend wants you now. So you can set aside what you have to do and go.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a phone call. Set aside your agenda for that's laying down your life for your friend or for your brother. That word, "I am busy," is hurtful.
Yeah. It's also a lie,
Yeah. People make excuses for what they should do. Yeah, are you so busy you can't call your mom or your dad once a week for 2 minutes?
Yeah.
And that hurts me, really, when kids don't call, older kids just ignore their parents. And then again, technology is good, but it has its evil too. Like the sound of a human voice. I tell my older, I just want to hear your voice.
Yeah.
That's all. 1 or 2 minutes is all I need. I don't want more than that. I just want to hear your voice. Kind of deal. I want to know that you're doing okay.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. So they'll get it one day.
Yeah, when they have kids.
Right now, I'm playing the role of the prodigal father.
Yeah.
And that has helped me a lot to deal with my older kids who are so busy working and don't have time to call me. I'm playing the role of the prodigal father because he did not go chasing after that prodigal son.
Yeah.
But he prayed and he waited patiently for him to come back.
Yeah.
Come to his senses. And I just hope that they call me a little more often. Not every day, once a week. My oldest son, he's the best. He would always pick up the phone when I call, or even if I leave him, he would call me back. The others, I have to wait a day or two.
I usually call my parents once or twice a week, but I know for a fact my brother calls them every single day when he gets off of work.
God
every
bless
day.
you. God bless you. God bless you. What a blessing. So and then in 2015, this is another time of overcoming.
Yeah.
I'm teaching a class. The class is finished around 3:00, and I'm heading to the men's room. I see my director walking up to me. "Lincoln, did you get my email?" I said, "Well, I don't check emails when I'm teaching." So what's it all about? Well, Esther, who is his VP, we need to meet with you. I said, well, I'm in that room. Let me go to the restroom. I'll meet you in that training room over there. I go
Yeah.
there. I see Esther. She comes up to me. She gives me a big hug. And she said, Lincoln, this is not about you. I'm thinking, what the heck is going on now?
Yeah.
Then I see an HR person come in. I said, what did I do? Kind
Yeah.
of deal. Well, this is how the conversation goes. Well, Lincoln, we're doing a reorg and your role is no longer needed. And we have a package. This is your package kind of deal. And do we have any questions for us? I said, well, this sounds like a done deal. What question could I ask?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, who else is impacted on my team? Well, we can't divulge that information right now. So I cut a long story short, I got 2 weeks. This was in June 2015. Guess what, Kali? The next week, I had to go to Chicago and teach Franklin Covey's workshop, Working at the Speed of Trust. And I had to go there and teach these people how to trust one another, how to trust your company that you're working for.
Yeah.
And I
When
had
you
to
just
make a
got bit in the butt.
I had to make a decision in myself. This is my integrity here. No matter what they've done to me, these people are not experiencing what I am experiencing. I have to teach the material as it is written, as it is meant to be taught.
Yeah.
My integrity. I did a great class for them. And so now I'm out of work again in 2015, June. I'm at 65, going on 66. The blessing, 2015. I had already registered my own training and consulting company because that was my plan when I retired from corporate to do my own training and consulting. And the title of my company is His Business Partners LLC. I didn't come up with that. He gave me that. I am your business partner.
Yeah.
So it was easy to transition into that. And then I have a ministry every Monday to Friday. I send out a Bible verse. And if you would like to be added, let me know. I'll add you to the list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody on that list want to be there. I don't spam it. And people will say, hey, can you add my son? Can you add my wife? Can you add my friend? And that's how the list has grown organically over the years. So people have been saying, when are you going to write a book about this? So what I did, now I'm out of work, I sat down and I wrote the book Verse for the Day. Now, originally it was Verse of the Day, but that is so passive.
Yeah.
This is for you today. Verse for the day. And this thing has evolved into a prayer request. Amazing. Kali, amazing. The people, we have people all over the world.
Yeah.
In Australia, in Canada, in India, in Africa, all over the world on this list. And I didn't invite anybody.
Yeah. They invited themselves.
Yeah, and I love it that way. So I wrote that book and published it. Actually, I'm redoing it, having a second edition right now. And then the With Passion book. Kali, I was at a football game in Houston, Texas. When I was in Houston, and the Miami Dolphins, you from Florida, the Miami Dolphins were playing the Houston Oilers at that time. And Dan Marino was still a quarterback. I had just moved to Houston, so I'm supporting Miami. My friend, co-worker, he was supporting Houston, and Miami is kicking their butt. Oh my God. And there were like 80,000 people in this. There was not an empty seat in the stadium. And all the noise and the paraphernalia and people, by halftime, I'm sure half of the people were already drunk and the other half were getting drunk. I must have been the only sober guy there. I'm a one-year kind of guy. And then, Kali, something happened. In the third quarter, I stopped hearing, everything went silent in my head. And a voice talking to me. And the voice said, Lincoln, look at you, man. It's a long time I haven't seen you so happy and excited and enthusiastic and jumping around. Come Monday morning, where would all this joy and excitement go? Tuesday, Wednesday. Lincoln, what if you could find a way to bottle how you're feeling right now and apply it to what you do every day. And that was in September of 1995. It was not until 2001 when I came to Atlanta that I put pen to paper and I wrote the workshop
Yeah.
with passion. The subtitle of that is Stop Working, Stop Performing. I wrote the workshop and the pen just flowed, Kali. The pen just flowed. He gave it to me, word for word. And I did the workshop and people start saying, when are you going to write a book about this? When are you going to write a book about this? Well, 2019, I published the book with passion. And it's available on Barnes and Noble. It's on my website.
I'll definitely have to check it out.
If you want a signed copy, let me know and I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
With passion. You know, everybody, speakers talk about passion. Everybody say, give me more passion, give me more heart, kindly, give me a heart. I've even heard a speaker once use the it factor, but I've never heard a speaker define, explain what is passion. Is it just a sizzle, a feeling that comes and goes? It's so much more than that. And in a nutshell, passion. He gave this to me. I can share it with you. P, take pride in what you do. Take pride in what you do. I'm not talking about proud. Take pride. At the end of the day, you can look in the mirror and say, I did my best today. The A, attitude. Your attitude towards life determines life's attitude towards you. This is not a job. This is my calling. This is my purpose. This is my opportunity to make a difference, to serve one another. The S is special. People who have a passion for what they do, they go out of their way to make other people feel special. But before you can make somebody feel special, you got to know you're special. And guess what? Kali, there are at least 7.9 billion people in the world today. And everybody who is listening in and looking, there are 7.9, at least 7.9. There is only one of you in this whole wide world. That makes you so unique, so special, more unique than a diamond. Now you can go make other people feel special. The second S is service. I found out, I'm a lifetime JC member. One of the tenets of the creed is service to humanity is the best work of life. We serve. We don't select who we're serving. We don't select by color, age, or religion or whatever. We serve. And then the I is initiative. We don't have to be told. Something that needs to be done, we do it. It doesn't even have to be our job. And we do it with integrity. The O is ownership. Kali, whose time is this now? This is your time and my time. Whose world is this? Too many people are giving up their world to other people, to the politicians. No, this is our world, my community, my church, my family. Take ownership. And the N is never give up. Too many people give up too early. Never give up. Persevere until the end. Jesus never gave up on us. On the cross, he said, it is finished. Finish what you start. That project that you started, go finish it.
Yeah.
I just started a new project. I'm writing a new book. The title is People Demics. I'm going to finish it.
Yep.
And the concept of people demics is, people go to school from pre-K, they go elementary, they go middle school, high school, college. Some people go all the way, get their PhD, 15 to 20 years in an academic institution. They come out of the walls of that institution and they don't know how to live, how to interact, how to build trust, how to build bonds, how to communicate. And that's what life is all about. People demics. Think about some doctors, they have no bedside manners, no people skills, because they were never taught. Some of us were lucky that we work or met somebody who was a good mentor. So we could take example from that person. So that's the next book. My goal is to finish it by the end of the year. Look out for it, People Demics.
I will definitely look out for it.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, when you're going through adversity and trials and tribulations, what some of the verses of the Bible that reminds me and keep me going, keep me going, is he said, in this world you will have trials and tribulation, but do not fear. I will never leave you nor forsake you. He walks with us and talks with us. But we just got to look to him. Look to him. You know, when Peter stepped out of that boat, as long as he looked into the eyes of Jesus, he walked on water. It's when he looked at the waves and the troubles and all that, then he starts sinking. Look into the eyes. That will keep me going.
Yeah.
I'm here to please him, not man. When I please him, man get pleased too. You know, and then Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans I have for you, to support you, not to harm you, and to give you hope for the future, to prosper you. All right, bring it on, Jesus.
Yeah. I like that. Bring it on, Jesus.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got. Yeah.
And, you know, Kali, the final word I'd like to leave with you and all your people. You are the star in the movie of your life. Make every day an Oscar-winning performance. Because once a day is gone, it's gone. You can't go back. You can't go back. So make every day an Oscar-winning performance. Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Lincoln, for coming here and spending some time with us. My face hurts from smiling so much. I don't think I stopped smiling in this entire hour. But your story is amazing. Everything about you is amazing. Everything spoke to me right now. I'm not the only person. We're all going through stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But what you said today, for a fact, has helped me. So I know for a fact it's helping other people out there. And thank you for doing that. I know it's your job, but we don't use jobs anymore. You know, it's your passion.
Yes.
So thank you for being that person to acknowledge what you love and acknowledge how you can help people and doing it, you know.
Amen.
And not giving up when things go wrong in your life, not taking it out on everybody else, but learning from it and moving forward. I really appreciate that.
Thank you for having me, and it was a joy and a pleasure meeting you. And I got your email, right? So I can add you to the list.
Yep. Yeah.
I do a RAT, I call it my RAT Tuesday tip. Every Tuesday I send out a tip, and RAT stands for Retain, Apply, Transfer.
Okay.
And to me, that's the key of learning. Retain, apply, transfer. Now you're learning.
Yeah.
So
thank you so much. Is there any type of handle you want to put out there for people to follow you on or find anything?
Well, I'm in Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, on Twitter account.
Awesome.
My website is there. And again, if anybody who is listening would like to be added to the verse for the day, just Google, you can find me at
or comment down below and I'll add a link.
Yeah, right. Lincoln at hisbusinesspartners.com.
Awesome.
And if you ever call my number and I don't answer, please leave a message. I'll call you back because there's so much spam going on.
Yep.
All right.